Hey, I want to talk to the person who's trying to get somewhere and you're frustrated because you're not making the progress you want to make. There's this narrative in society that the path to success is straight, that rags to riches is like a direct, straight path, or going from the top to the bottom. Success stories like mine, like it just happens overnight. Sometimes, like when people see the movie Freedom Riders, which is a great movie that highlights some of my story and the story of some of my classmates, they think that, in the 2-hour movie you see radical transformations taking place like within 2 hours, and it makes you believe like you can achieve success quickly and immediately. But guys, the path to success is never straight. The path to flourishing is never straight. It starts off with a dream and a goal, but usually there are setbacks along the way. And most rags to riches stories, most success stories, they leave out the struggles and the setbacks and the failures and the disappointments and the embarrassments. And so I just want to encourage you, even from my own life, that my journey to success has not been straight at all. I started at the bottom. I started with my pops locked up. I started living in 26 places before I was 16. I started like hating school. I started ditching school 60 to 90 days a year from 4th to 9th grade. Man, I eventually dropped out after my friend was killed. And then I made up my mind after this man shared the gospel of Jesus Christ with me to give my life to Christ and to begin like trying to build a life that I could be proud of and build a life that would free me and my family. Like I wanted to be happy and healthy and whole, and I wanted to be in a healthy relationship, and I wanted to be a good dad one day and a great husband one day who never put hands on his wife, who, like I wanted a better life. And so I set out to really improve my life. But look, it took me 5 years to graduate from UC Berkeley with a degree in political science and rhetoric. And then I was planning to go to law school, but I went to this camp for foster kids, and that camp changed my direction from law school to seminary. So I was working at my church and then went to seminary, and I was planning to be a pastor. And I was working at a church. I was installed as the assistant pastor of our church. And the plan was to eventually pastor that church or a church nearby. But then I felt a burden for the people who didn't come to church, who, like me, dropped out of school and like sitting on a park bench hopeless. And I needed someone to come and meet me where I was. And so I felt a call to resign from my job as a pastor to begin speaking in schools around the world, around the United States, which led to me speaking to places around the world. And the path was like, okay. And along the way, I realized I needed more education. So I started working on my PhD. What I thought would be a 2 to 3 year program turned into 12 years. 12 years because I was traveling 200 to 300 days a year, speaking all over the world. 12 years because I was homeschooling my children. 12, and my wife was, of course, leading most of that, but I was facilitating it. I was the one planning it. It took me 12 years to finish my PhD and to do coursework and to do comprehensive exams and to put together my proposal, and then to do my research, and then to analyze and evaluate my research, and then to discuss my findings, and then to write the dissertation, and then to revise it, all while living like my life and working and serving. The path is never straight. I planned on getting a pilot's license I wanted to finish it in a month. Like, let me just get these 40 hours out of the way. I'm gonna just fly every day. It took me a year to get my pilot's license. The path to success, the path to flourishing is never straight. I wanted to invest in real estate, and I wanted to buy apartment buildings, and I wanted to get something every year to grow my portfolio. It turned into me like really investing in a new property every 4 years. I've from my experience, it usually takes me 3 times as long as I want it to take for me to achieve a goal or an objective. Now, that's not everybody's story. Some people can do it quickly. But for me, if I say I want to do something generally in a month, it takes 3 months or a year. I guess that's 12 times long. If I say I want to do something in 3 years, it took me 12 years to finish my PhD. So that's really 4 times as long as I want. My point is this, my friend. Whatever your goal is, the path to it is not going to be straight. You're going to have setbacks. I haven't even talked about like my sicknesses that I've gotten and like my health challenges that I developed on the road because I was pushing so hard and not taking good care of myself. I didn't talk about like getting hit with a huge tax bill that because I didn't have the right infrastructure in my business. I didn't talk about the stresses in my marriage and trying to just make sure like my priorities were right. I didn't talk about like conflicts with friends along the way and family members. Like the path to where you're trying to get is not going to be straight. And so I want to encourage you in your own journey to give yourself some grace, to set a goal, a destination, but give yourself some flexibility and learn along the way. I read a book in college. I think it's The Education of Henry Adams. He's, I think, the son or grandson of one of the presidents. And he said, the dream of man is order, but the order of nature is chaos, or something. The dream of man is order, but nature is chaos. Essentially, the world is chaotic. The world is not linear. The world doesn't just go in a straight line. It's non-linear. Like it's multiple things happening at the same time, and it can be overwhelming. So set a goal and then give yourself some flexibility within that. And what I've learned is sometimes the things you need to learn, you cannot learn before you step out. There are some things that you can only learn after stepping out in faith. It's interesting how God sets things up like that. There are things that you need to learn that you cannot learn from a book, that you cannot learn from just thinking about it. You've got to step out in faith, and it's only after you step out without all of the answers. You fail a few times, you struggle, but through the struggles and the failures and the disappointments, you have this epiphany, this didn't work, that didn't work, but let me try this, and this ends up working, and you make one step towards progress. Like you get one step closer towards your goal. So I'm getting too worked up right now because this is personal for me. The journey to success, the path to flourishing, is never straight, but you have to be intentional. And you have to get to a place where even in the failures, you keep going. You correct, you learn from your mistakes, and you adjust your path. But even in the mistakes, even in the setbacks, you keep going. And I honestly think that's where your character is formed, and that's where your lessons are learned. What do you do when nothing you've done works anymore? What do you do after you fail? What do you do after something didn't work out? What do you do after you've been embarrassed? What do you do after you've been rejected? From my experience, there's this natural desire to just want to give up and just say, you know what, forget it. It's not working. Forget it. Nothing I do is working. Nothing I try is working. Maybe I'm just a failure. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I just can't do it. Maybe it's just not in the cards for me. And then you just give up. Unfortunately, that dream dies. And you end up feeling sorry for yourself, and you end up not making progress, and you end up regretting the fact that you gave up. And here's what I want to tell you, man. Usually when it's hardest is usually right before the morning comes. Right before, like right around the time that thing doesn't work out. You get so close and it doesn't work out that you just give up. But if you just pushed one more time or 3 more times or 5 more times, then your breakthrough would have come through. But you gave up too soon. There's so many people who give up right before your breakthrough. Every one of us is a certain number of failures away from tremendous success. Every one of us, and our number is different. Your number is different from your neighbor's number, from my number. You might have to fail 100 times before you experience tremendous success on that 101st time. You know, I've failed thousands of times, but I just kept going until something worked out. And I just kept trying something else until something worked out. And that's what happened for me. But the path was never straight. The path was always meandering and winding and difficult. And some nights, man, there were some dark nights. There were some lonely nights, some discouraging nights. There were some nights and some days I'd just be laying in bed, just not wanting to get out of bed because nothing is working. Nothing I'm doing is working. We were trying to refinance one of our properties. We got so many bad offers or rejections that it took 5 years for us to finally find a bank that would work with us. Oh my God, so frustrating, so discouraging, because you're hoping and you're working and you're straining to just get there, and it's just taking so long. So I say this to say, set a path, give yourself some flexibility, and develop grit along the way and perseverance along the way. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes and make some adjustments and some corrections. And keep trying, keep showing up, keep putting one foot in front of the other until you experience that success, that breakthrough in your own personal health, your well-being. Like your health is not really based on your feelings. It's based on eating right and exercising and disciplining yourself to work out when you don't feel like it. And that's a hard word to receive and to share, because I don't feel like working out, but I need to work out. Same thing with relationships, same thing with business, same thing with real estate. It's not about how you feel. It's about doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Motivation gets you started, but it's discipline that will get you to your destination. Yes, you need that deep internal purpose, that deep throbbing, pulsating why that keeps you going, that vision in your head of you being financially free, of you traveling the world, of you being happily married, of you being a good parent, of you doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it. When you get to that vision of living out your purpose and your calling, that vision is what keeps you going. It'll motivate you, and that needs to be deep within your heart. But you need discipline, and you need faith. Faith without works is dead. You need faith that translates into action, daily action, weekly action, monthly action, with achievable, measurable goals. All right. But I just want to let you know, man, the path is never straight. The path is usually meandering, but you can get there. All right. I'm your friend, Dr. Manny Scott, and I want you to know I'm not a perfect example, but I'm a living example. And I believe that when you apply the Word of God to your life, it will help you flourish in every area of your life. And like I said, I've missed the mark. I miss the mark daily. But the more I align myself with the Word of God, as it is revealed in the Bible, the more my life flourishes, the more blessed I am, the happier I feel, the more my children do better, the more my wife is, and my marriage is in a good place, the closer I am to the Word of God. And the more I distance myself and disobey it, the harder things become for me. And so I'm just encouraging you, set your hopes on things eternal, set your goals on things and your vision on things that will lead to your flourishing and to your family's flourishing and to the flourishing of the world. And then set out on a path, on a quest to achieve that purpose, that mission, and give yourself flexibility along the way. Pray, learn from your mistakes, cry, and after you fail, get up and try again, and keep trying until you experience that success, that fulfillment that you know is there for you, that you're longing for, that keeps you up at night, that thing that makes you restless. And you will get there. You will get there. Okay, I'm living proof. I'm a living witness, a living testimony, a living epistle of God's faithfulness. of God's faithfulness. When you hold to His hand and you do your best to live according to His will and to His word, and love others, love yourself, care about the world, care about God's creation, and it works out because He works it out for you. But make sure you're doing your part. All right, the path is never straight, but you can get there. All right, have an amazing day. Look around on my channel. I'm sharing practical wisdom to help you flourish in every area of your life, especially with regard to wealth, your relationships, and in your service, in your work and service for God as an educator, as a speaker, as a minister, or whatever you do. I want to help you be your absolute best and flourish in all those areas so we can help this world flourish as well. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day.